So this might be like a complete and utter spoiler for the entire book series. But I need to unpack this for myself because I was talking to Lisa, my dear friend, about this the other day and kind of explaining this without. This is what the stories are all leading toward, this evolution of humanity. And so the people of the West are in our current state of forgetting, dismemberment, polarity, strife, duality, separateness, learning through suffering and pain. And they learn, but this is this is sort of like the not the beginner level, but where we're at right now. And the potential is in the East, where the people are, they understand the paradox, they're trusting, they are connected to themselves, others, universe. They they're multilingual rather than, only speaking one language. So they understand and, know with a capital K on all different levels that are more, I guess, with a heightened awareness, right? So they can speak without words. They can speak with many kinds of words. They choose the words selectively and create new ones and ways to use them. They speak in, like different languages we wouldn't even understand, and, in pictures and mental pictures and emotion, feeling. They emote and they transmit and they exchange on different levels, with body language, which is very physical, but also in other ways that, using senses that people in the West don't really know if they have or can tap into. That's only the realm of like trickery and, like small m magic. But the people in the East understand and practice capital M magic. The West is in the pseudo, of the fake, of the emulation, of the forcing of something they want. The East is immersed and brought up with and, intuitively in their knowing. And where magic is actually all around them. Everything's a miracle. And it truly is. It's not like a belief, like a wide-eyed, gaping mouthed dunce, a bunch of hippie fools. It's not. It's the fool is actually revered, knowing that all of this, everything, there are miracles happening at all times, and we are participatory in it. So this is the difference. And at the same time, the East is still learning through the human experience. And there's still the human that we can grasp, in our imagination at this present time. And even the people in the West can grasp to some degree, depending on how exposed they are and how much experience they've had with mystical experiences or engagement with people in the East, or being able to see something, through the cracks in the veil, cracks in the shell, or the lifting the veil or the thinning of the veil. If we want to keep the metaphor coherent and consistent. So when they transition into this humanity of the East that learns through love, because we believe in the West that we must learn through pain and suffering, and we can, and we have, and we do. And we can also learn through love. And love is creation. Love is bigger. It's a bigger concept. Not bigger, but it's not the small L love that we understand in the West. It is the big L love that we understand in the East. And so that is still um, moving toward the next uh, awakening, the further awakening, or even transition. And this is sort of like a scary thing, like I moved toward it in book 7, and I'm still not sure how I'm going to actually describe it and have the characters experience it, um, because I don't even know what it is. I just know it is. Uh, it's the next expansion, or and whenever I say next, I'm still putting it in linear time. It's outside of time. Excuse me. And so, um, yeah, and it has to do with synarchy and epiphany and all those beautiful, gorgeous words that Richard Rudd actually uses to describe the city states that he talks about in the Gene Keys. And obviously, this is not a book about Gene Keys, but um, I do pull from the substrate of all that is in my awareness when I create my stories and the books and the characters and the concepts and what I am writing toward, what story I'm telling or unfolding or keeping or weaving, making. So that those words really ring to me as what exactly it is that we're talking about when we talk about, some people say the new human. I don't know. I mean, um, there's this also a notion, a Western notion. I'm saying West and East, but they are one and the same. They're two sides of the same coin. And that's another thing that you will see as you read. But, like a Western notion that we're only human, as in like we're all flawed and there's a deficit. And, we can be gentle and okay with that because that's all we are. And there's a reason for that does make, allow us to say, okay, I don't have to hate myself because I am flawed, right? There's an acceptance there. But the energy is, or the what'd you call it? The tone. It is still in that realm of, you know, not not good enough, not perfect. And I love the phrase perfect in our imperfection, because this is exactly what we are, and all of it. And there's no judgment. I think, yeah, there's judgment, even though it's like, well, you're absolved of your sins, but you've still sinned. I accept you even though, you're not quite up to snuff, like you're only human. What do you expect? Right? Like, we can't be perfect, but shifting that over into understanding that we are divine, and not in this like godlike, God complex kind of way that's complete and utter bullshit. I mean, that helps us to get through, yes, right? It helps us to, feel worthy and have less doubt. But again, it's in the pseudo realm rather than in this truth of really who and what we are. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. I am free. I am free. I am free, as Paul Selig's guides say. And so this notion is understood. It's not just understood in the East, like intellectually and discussed and around the fire and explained to the people who come over from the West, but it is known, it is felt, it is expressed, it is experienced, it is lived. It comes through them. It's a knowing, again, like I said, with a capital K. It is truth. It's trusted wholeheartedly. And trust isn't just about like, jumping and hoping, for the best and it might not work out. It's literally knowing that um, this is, yeah, this is, it's, that we are all beautiful, and we are all, and every bit of us, every part of us, every energy, every expression of us, right? This is all what we're here to do and to be. is to know more of the whole. And so there is no judgment um, in the East, in that Eastern philosophy, I guess you could put it, or um, cosmology, or uh, understanding of life itself, I guess. Um, so what was I talking about? I got to circle back to that. So yeah, so we learn through love, and in the East. And so we're moving toward what the next things are, is like literally embodying that knowing. And so when you embody the knowing, there is no need to have the human experience as we know it. Doesn't mean we're not human. It doesn't mean we're not, but we've we've evolved to a point where we don't need to have the human experience as we know it, and that's a scary thing. Like, a couple of the things like I've been reading about, it's like, well, what happens when you are completely enlightened and you see what Richard Rudd calls the ecstatics, or we hear stories about people that you go sit in their presence, and I have characters like that throughout the books. You sit in their presence and you absorb what they are, not who, as in like identity, not um, giving, like it's like they give without effort because they radiate, the radiance, the um, yeah, they radiate this being, this state of being, not knowledge, not understanding even, right? Like even the things that the East are embodying, but they radiate that being. So we've moved from, I guess, separation to connection and knowing, and then all the way to being. And so if you embody this, there is no need for further lessons. You just are. So that's gonna be crazy to be able to have my readers and listeners experience that. So, and do it in a way that is satisfying, because we want to be satisfied, right? We want to be satisfied. We listen to stories. We want everybody to be happy in the end. We want everyone to have a realization or grow as characters or come together. Actually, I think really that's what we're looking for. Isn't even the happy ending, but the connection point at the end. That is what we want. Connection. But at the same time, that we can only, like, at this point of our collective understanding, to come together means we have to be separate. There has to be a certain point that is me, and a certain point, a little dot that is you, and a dot that is someone else, and a dot that's your brothers or your sisters or your lovers or your parents, and all of these dots. And to be able to come together, you have to have an individual dot. But what if you are collectively the sun, and it's beautiful, but you can't differentiate one dot from the other? And so that it's like, well, where am I? How do I experience that? So the individuality is essential for us to feel, to experience it as self, as you. Like, how else do you experience it? So it's like mind blowing. And so, and the truth is that we want to come together, but we don't want to disappear. We don't want to disappear into the great unknown, into the collective. Nobody wants to be a hive mind. Nobody wants to be only like in the one. We are part of the one, but we don't want to be the one. If that makes sense. We don't want to be a monocrop. We don't want to, just blend into, like, put all the colors together, and instead of a rainbow, we have gray. We don't want that. And so what does that mean to move into this new humanity? Well, so we're busy rejecting all of these other pieces painting what we think is what we want and wanting everybody else to want the same. But if we wanted the same and where we were the same, what does that actually mean? What does that look like? And I have an idea of what that could look like. Still maintaining the connection point at the end, satisfactory, not ending, but new beginning. All right. Thanks for playing.